Right now, as you watch this, most Canadians are standing in the same line. They are trading 40 hours a week for a paycheck, watching the clock, and waiting for a weekend that always ends too soon. But there is a small, specific group of people who have quietly found a different door. For them, the mailbox earns more than the labor. Their money clocks in while they sleep, and it never once asks for a day off. Today, we are going to calculate something very precise. Not a dream, not a vague idea of being rich. The exact price tag of a $2,000 a month passive paycheck, here in Canada, in 2026. So why $2,000? Why not $1 million? Why not 10? Because in 2026, $2,000 a month is what we call the freedom floor. It is not the number that buys you a yacht. It is the number that silences the most stressful bills in a Canadian household. Think about what $24,000 a year actually covers. According to StatCan, that is your groceries at Loblaws for an entire year. That is your property taxes. That is your hydro, keeping the lights on every single month. When those three go quiet, something changes in your chest. The panic drains out of your monthly budget. You are no longer working to survive, you are simply working to grow. Here is the way to picture it. Most people spend their entire lives climbing a ladder to pick one apple at a time. That is what a wage is. You climb, you reach, you pick one apple, and then you climb back down and do it all again tomorrow. The moment you stop climbing, the apples stop. Dividend investing is different. It is like planting a very specific kind of tree, one that drops its fruit directly into your basket every 30 days, whether you are standing there or not. You don't need to climb. You don't even need to watch. And here is the key. You do not care how tall the tree gets. The height of the tree is the stock price, and the stock price goes up and down with the wind. You only care about one thing, the weight of the basket. How much fruit dropped this month? This is the automated orchard. And the question of this whole video is simply this. How many trees do you need to plant to fill a $2,000 basket every month? To answer that, we need to understand yield, the percentage of fruit each tree drops per year. And in Canada, there are 3 rungs on this ladder. The first rung is the blue chip tier, yielding around 4%. This is the safest orchard in the country, the big 5 banks like RBC and TD, and the big utilities. These trees are old, deep-rooted, and boring is exactly what you want. But safety has a price. To pull $2,000 a month from a 4% yield, you need $600,000 invested. The second rung is the income tier, yielding around 6%. This is energy infrastructure like Enbridge and REITs, the companies that own the pipelines and the buildings. A little more movement, a little more reward. At 6%, your target drops to $400,000. The third rung is the high-yield tier, 8% and above. This is the world of income ETFs and split shares. At 8%, you only need $300,000 to hit your goal, and that lower number is very tempting. But here is the warning. Every serious investor eventually learns. When a tree offers you too much fruit, too fast, sometimes it is not being generous, it is dying. Chasing the highest yield can lead you straight into what we call a yield trap, where the tree rots quietly from the inside. That 8% looks beautiful, right up until the payout gets cut, and your basket suddenly comes back half empty. High yield is a tool, not a shortcut. Now, here is where Canada does something genuinely remarkable, and most people have no idea it even exists. Our tax system quietly rewards the asset owner over the laborer. It is called the Dividend Tax Credit. When you earn eligible dividends from Canadian corporations, the CRA taxes that income at a dramatically lower rate than the money you earn from your job. Let that sink in. $2,000 of eligible dividends can leave you with a smaller tax bill than $2,000 of T4 employment income. Same amount of money. The same $24,000 a year. But the government reaches into one pocket far more gently than the other. Why? Because they want you to own pieces of Canadian business. The system is literally designed to reward you for becoming an owner instead of only a worker. Let me put that $400,000 orchard into human terms. Imagine hiring an employee who works 24 hours a day. They never sleep. They never take a holiday. They never call in sick. And they never, not once, ask for a raise. Every single week, they walk up to you and hand you $500 in cash, and then they turn around and go straight back to work. That is what $400,000 in a 6% portfolio actually is. A silent employee. They don't care about the headlines. They don't care about the news out of Ottawa. They don't panic when the TSX has a bad day. They simply show up, every quiet morning and keep filling the basket. And the strangest, most wonderful part is the feeling that creeps in slowly. One day you realize that your life's scaffolding, your rent, your food, your bills, is being quietly funded by the profit margins of the biggest corporations in the country. You are no longer standing outside the economy, looking in through the glass. You own a slice of it, and it pays you rent. Now I know what you are thinking. That is wonderful, but I do not have $400,000 sitting in a drawer. Almost nobody does. And here is the secret. You do not start with the orchard, you grow it. This is where the most powerful force in Canadian investing comes in. The Dividend Reinvestment Plan, or DRIP. Here is how it works. Instead of spending the fruit your trees drop, you plant it. Every dividend your portfolio pays gets automatically used to buy more shares, which means more trees, which drop more fruit, which buys you even more trees. It is a snowball, rolling downhill, and it gets faster the longer it rolls. Start with just $100 a month. On its own, that feels almost pointless, but feed it into quality dividend payers, turn on DRIP, and let the reinvestment compound year after year after year. That tiny, boring $100 a month does not stay small. Given enough time, it grows into the very orchard that pays you $2,000 a month for the rest of your life. The snowball does the heavy lifting. You just have to start pushing it. But there is one move you must make correctly, or the CRA will take a bite out of every basket. This is the manual override, and it is the single most important step. You max out your TFSA first. Inside a TFSA, the tax-free savings account, every single dividend, every reinvested share, and every dollar of growth is completely shielded. The CRA cannot touch it. It becomes your personal CRA shield. When your silent employee hands you $500 a week from inside a TFSA, you keep every single cent. After the TFSA is full, you move to your RRSP for further sheltering, and then to a regular taxable account, where, remember, the dividend tax credit is still waiting to soften the blow, but the order matters. TFSA first, always. Fill the shield before you fill anything else. So let us go back to that number one, final time. 600,000 at 4%, 400,000 at 6%, 300,000 at 8%, 3 different orchards, 1 identical harvest, $2,000 a month, dropping into your basket, whether you show up or not. Because wealth in Canada was never really about the size of your bank balance. It is about silent flow. Money moving toward you while you simply live your life. $2,000 a month is not just money. It is roughly 30 hours of your life, every single month, that you no longer have to sell to somebody else. The trees are available to anyone willing to plant them. The only question left is when you start digging. If this video helped, hit like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.